Agenda, and we are at Board of Supervisors sitting as other boards. Item 10, Rocking K South Community Facilities District, Resolution 2017-RK1, as well as item B, that's item A, as well as item B, which is to provide for the development and an intergovernmental agreement for Rocking K Community Facilities District. Contract amount of $46,500,000. And then I want to also move to item 12, which is the same essentially, but with the Board of Supervisors sitting as the Board of Supervisors. Item 12 in Resolution 2017-44. And then again, item B relating to the Community Facilities District Fund contract amount of $46,500,000. What's the pleasure of the board on these items?
Madam Chair,
Supervisor Christie.
I'd like to move the question of items 10 and 12 as stated by the chair.
10A and B and then 12A and B.
Correct.
I'll second.
That includes resolutions 2017-RK1 and resolution 2017-44.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Supervisor.
I got a memo from Keith Dahmer, and my understanding of a community facilities district is that they own the property and they assess these fees to maintain it. But in this memo, it says, and the question asked by a member of my staff is, what is the liability of Pima County by approving this CFD IGA? And I had previously supported this. But the answer I got back was the county will have the ordinary responsibilities that come with owning public infrastructure after the infrastructure is built and conveyed to the county. My understanding, the purpose of a CFD is that it is never conveyed to the county to do the maintenance on it, that it is going to be done by the Community Facilities District. Is anyone have a response?
Mr. Huckleberry.
Yes, Madam Chair and members of the board, the Community Facilities District basically are constructed in statute to build public infrastructure for developments. And in this particular case, and in almost all cases, once that infrastructure is actually constructed, it is conveyed to or becomes part of the maintenance obligation of the particular governmental entity that provides that. There is an additional property tax of 30 cents per hundred that is really set aside for the maintenance, and that is what's permitted by statute. So this has two components. One is the capital improvements associated with the first property tax of about $2.30 per hundred, and then the maintenance tax, which is about 30 cents per hundred. And I think we view that as beneficial, meaning that in normal circumstances, if in fact the developer didn't take advantage of the Community Facilities District, he would have financed these improvements on his own, and then they would have been conveyed to the county and would accept it, and then we basically pay the full cost of maintenance. So the advantage of this is really twofold. First, the developer gets a financing mechanism, which is really his own property, and second, the county gets a contribution towards maintenance that obviously we hope is fairly close to offsetting their actual cost.
Okay, so the county will have an obligation to pay any future maintenance that exceeds that 30 cents
Yes.
per hundred. Okay, that's different than what I understood this to be. My understanding was the purpose was to create this Community Facilities District to fully own and maintain their own infrastructure. But adding that to additional obligation for Pima County taxpayers does not seem right to me. The other question that came up was Mr. Dahmer stated, although there is no county liability for district debt, the county's debt could be perceived differently if the district defaulted on their own debt. If I could get further clarification on that from either Mr. Huckleberry or Mr. Dahmer.
Yes, Madam Chair and Supervisor Miller. Any bond obligation that could be in fact have some county, we'll say, reference or color. Basically, if it defaults, while it has no legal obligation, it could be viewed in the market as a default of an obligation within Pima County. So it does carry that risk, and it's a typical business risk that in the case of many counties and cities and towns in Arizona, they've already experienced that because there have been numerous community facilities districts implemented throughout the state, and a number in Pima County, typically by municipalities.
Madam Chair,
Supervisor Christie.
just wondering if Mr. Dahmer could add to it, since it was generated by a memorandum from his office.
Chair Bronson and Supervisor Christie, the county administrator adequately explained that. I think that there is sometimes a public perception that the community facilities districts are tied to the sponsoring government in a financial obligatory way that simply doesn't exist. I think that that's a perception, that's not a reality. It is somewhat common. It's hard to quantify the effect that that would have.
Madam Chair.
Supervisor.
Mr. Dahmer, I'm sure you've been intimately involved in this whole process. How long have you been doing this particular designation and working on it?
Supervisor Bronson and Chair Bronson, Supervisor Christie. I believe for more than a year. I don't have immediate recall of the exact start time of working on this project, but more than a year.
Then, Madam Chair,
Supervisor.
could I move, there already is a.
Yes, there already is a motion.
Madam Chair, I wasn't finished with my questions. The last question I had was, there is an assumption by the developer that they're going to reach a certain level of valuation within, I think it's 10 years. What happens if they don't meet that level of valuation?
Madam Chair and Supervisor Miller, if they do not, they're still obligated to meet the debt service on the issued debt, and that will come out of their pocket.
Okay, but okay, all right, thank you. Based upon this information, I cannot support this community facilities district. Thank you.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. If there's no further discussion, call the question.
Supervisor Christie?
Yes?
Supervisor Elias?
Aye.
Supervisor Miller?
No.
Supervisor Valdez?
Aye.
Chair Bronson?
Aye. Motion carries. Supermajority reached.